Testing the mic, checking the volume. Looks good. I think it's good. Let's get this switched over while I load up Twitch on my phone. There we go. All right, that looks good. Let me finish loading Twitch. Okay. Check on my Discord real quick as we wait just a minute or two more to get started tonight. It is Tuesday, so time to stream. All right, let me put this over here. Move these bags. All right, so let's get started. We've got kind of a lot to do today and moving forward, so I would like to get this stream going. So welcome back. Happy New Year. Hopefully it has been a good new year for you so far. It has been snowing here of all things, and so kind of a crazy way to start off the year. It seems like it's been a long time since I've seen snow. So got all snowed in and now it's just icy, so I don't want to go out. It's just so cold. And so today we will be spending the night just sanding away and working on indoor hobbies. As you can see here, I've just kind of thrown this poor little birdie on the ground here, and so she's in a bunch of parts. But all we'll be doing today is puttying. So we have finished the magnets at this stage. As you can see, they just kind of pop in and out. There are many ways that this kit fits together, and she's overall pretty easy to fit. Let's see, like so. So she's already all magnetized and pinned. I did test her and kind of put her in this wood slab that I have here. I just keep this one around for kits that I'm test fitting to see if they could stand, and she does. Let's see if I can get it roughly in here. So this kit's a little bit of a leaner, and I've heard that before, and so at some point I'll have to go into the whole brass fitting, the wire and all of that, and getting it to bend together. But as you can see, it's designed to just kind of fit on the side. Sorry if it's kind of blurry. Hello Curry, how are you? So yeah, this kit's just kind of designed to sit like this. As you can see, she does stand on her little Sakura cherry blossom here, but she needs some support, so she has this huge brass wire in her that is going to have to go into some acrylic plate or something else, just because there's no way she can stand on this otherwise on her own. The head is too heavy, and so like that, you can basically zoom out even more, see if it will focus. You can see that she'll just kind of fit. Again, she just kind of leaned back, so I'm gonna have to do a little bit of adjusting and moving the foot forward, but that's later down the road. We don't need to worry about that for now. So just kind of wanted to give you a heads up on what that's looking like in terms of why there's a big rod in her foot. So last time we puttied, we finished magnetizing, we started puttying, and today we are going to continue puttying. We have been using Tamiya Light Curing Putty. So this is the putty we're using. It's a, again, putty that cures in light, and so it's not UV light, it's just any light that it cures in. So it comes in this black tube, and you take it out and then apply the putty and hold your piece up to the light, and then it cures in a matter of like a minute or so. And so we started doing that on a couple of these pieces. It comes out really bright yellow, except after it cures, it kind of dries out a little bit and it becomes much less yellow. So you can see here, like right here, that's the area that we puttied last time. You can move this leg, there's a couple spots, but it's much less yellow than last time. There's a couple holes around here that you can't even really see anymore. Those are all cured now. So don't be afraid if you use this putty and it doesn't come out, you know, like you think it will, and it's super bright, because it does fade out. There's a whole bunch of fade out marks over here too, so you can barely even see them. Like looking, there we go. So like here and here and here, those are all spots that had the putty and now it's dried and it's just an off-white color, so no worries there. So anyway, enough talking about the light curing putty. We're gonna just continue and go into it, see what holes we can find, and then after that, we'll need to probably Bondo this whole thing, meaning another putty that I have. We're gonna put that on there to catch any of these holes that I missed, because there was a lot. So let's see, let's get this set up going. Last time we did these, there's some detail stuff. I guess the next thing will be to start with the skirt, because that will take us a while and there's a lot of holes in it. So that seems like a good place to start. Let me zoom in. So yeah, I'll just start with this piece, I guess. So there's a number of holes here. You can see the holes here. There's some along the edges. I think there's one there. There's one there. So there's a couple that I can even see that I missed in the light, so we're gonna need to drill those out. And the other piece, the other side of the skirt is way worse. So we'll just get going, see what happens, and spend some time puttying tonight. You'll see me probably hold the piece up to the light as we continue puttying, because I need to look at it and fill in these spots. So yeah, okay, start on this side, I guess. Oops. Only gonna take out a little bit of a putty at a time, and I'm actually gonna grab a glove so that way I'm not putting all my oils on the kit. There we go. Okay. Gonna kind of work in areas tonight, so since the holes are all over the kit, we're going to work in sections and fill it in as we go. So I'm not gonna put putty on all of the holes right away. Just going to work in this area first. That way you can make sure that they're all filled up and good before you move on. Let's see. Let's put a little bit more down here. Okay, so I'm gonna close this. I'll be closing my curing putty, my light curing putty, pretty often because I don't want the other light to affect it. Let's see. Hello, Kari Ponko. Hi, how are you doing? Those are magnets. So we have been working on this figure. We've magnetized the figure at this point, so we've done all the initial sanding. We have magnetized / pinned, so there's a kind of a combination here. Sorry, my camera is like funky as I'm kind of holding this piece up to the light. So we have a combination of magnets and pins, as you can see here. And that will help the stability of the figure. There's a couple areas where I wasn't able to put in magnets just because the pieces are so heavy, or it just doesn't work well, but as much as possible I try to use magnets these days just because they're really easy. Well, that's odd, but they're fun, they're easy to set up, and they help you kind of later on down the road when you're installing. And if you're interested in how to learn how to use magnets, I highly suggest you follow my social media or something, because I actually do have a guide on magnets I'm planning to publish either tomorrow or later this week. I've been kind of working on it. So if you're unsure of how to use magnets, or you just need some tips or a walkthrough, I'm your girl, so I do have that coming. Okay, good. Glad to hear it. Yeah, they're a fun thing to install and just kind of work with. But for now, what we're doing is just puttying and puttying and puttying. This kit is from the sculptor Whoopie Pie, and it does have a mail order available, although it's currently sold out. However, last time on my stream, I think we determined that I think I have one of the first edition runs of this, or it's cast by Whoopie Pie themselves, because I purchased this kit directly at Wonder Festival. I did not get it through the mail order. And my quality of this kit is considerably worse than other people's mail order. I had often seen this kit be referenced as a good beginner kit for people, and I was like really, really skeptical of that, what people were saying, because mine is not that case. And so I think that's what happened, is I've gotten something that not everyone else is getting, because there's stuff like this. So she's got all these holes in her head, and just all sorts of madness. There's just holes everywhere on my version. And so it's kind of hard to see here, but there's all sorts of holes everywhere. So I think I can still recommend this to people as a good beginner kit, and as a kit that, you know, is fun and cute, but I am not having that experience. That's just my personal deal with it. I might have to move my paper towel this time, because I feel like it's really interfering with the camera. Let's see. Come on. There we go. Okay. But yeah, basically we just kind of hang out and, you know, talk about kits, and if there's any techniques or things that you don't know, I'm here to answer or just chat about it. That's what these streams are for. And also it's a time for me to set aside and build for a couple hours. Don't get a lot of time these days, so. Alright, this is looking good. And I'm not seeing any new holes pop up on this side, so that's promising. And for those unsure, I'm using an 800 grit right now. At this point, I'm not looking for anything crazy, because we've already done the initial sanding, and we're just trying to fill in some of these small putty holes, so. Typically I'll use an 800 to 1200 in this step. And this putty, this light curing putty, is very easy to sand down, which is why I can get away with going to such a high grit. Okay, so that's looking good. Let's see. You can see some hints of yellow here, here, here. So all of those are the holes that I just filled in. And let's keep moving along. So we're just gonna take a look. Oh, there's already one there. Let's see. See a comment. Don't really have any questions because you haven't built anything yet. Hopefully this year you can start. Ooh, new starts. That's always good too. And yeah, no worries at all. We all start somewhere. You know, some people just like to watch. Some people build a lot of kits per year. It's all good. You've been collecting kits for years, but you never had access to good materials, so you're afraid. Oh, I see. I definitely understand that. There's like a whole collection of kits in my closet that, you know, I've accumulated over the years, and some of them I didn't have the right materials, some of them I didn't feel like I had the right skill level, and so I completely understand. But hopefully you can start this year. This is such a fun hobby, and I always love encouraging people to get into it, because there's this feeling of satisfaction that's completely different from just buying PVC figure, you know. You truly do own something one of a kind and special when you purchase and build a garage kit. So I am a big advocate for this hobby, as small as it is. Always happy to see new faces in it. So whatever you do, good luck. And our community is very, for the most part, open to beginners and lots of questions. So at least always feel like you have a space here to talk. Okay, so I've puttied 3 holes now, and I am just gonna hold these up to the light for, I don't know, 30 seconds or so. And then we'll come back and sand them and keep working around. Oh, and I'm holding this piece up to the light, and there's like a ton of really tiny ones over here. I don't see, wow, they're really invisible. That's gonna be some Bondo ones, I think. I want to like avoid using the Bondo now, but I feel like I'm gonna forget about that otherwise, so I'm just gonna bring it out now and kind of put a little on there. Oops, sorry. Well, not that there's much to see while I'm holding this up to the light, but okay, let's test this out. Yeah, I think we're mostly good. Well, we'll find out. So there's a hole on the underside of this, which is why I'm puttying this. And there's a couple of them actually. I see one over here too. So after I get these holes done, I'm gonna go back to that other area that I had just sanded and put a little bit of Bondo on it. Okay, that one's mostly good. This hole here is kind of on the edge, and so I want to be really careful not to break the putty off, and also not to change the shape of the frill too much. Okay, that's looking good. Shave just a little. Something funky is going on here. I think that's just some extra putty. Okay, and next hole is kind of inside of here, so that's a little bit annoying. But we're gonna flatten the sandpaper, so fold it in a flat shape, and then rather than rub in a circular motion, I just kind of go back and forth for these areas that are along like sharp angles. Might need another sandpaper. Let's see. Yeah, let me get another piece of sandpaper. I'm gonna cut it actually. Usually I just rip it off, but I want a really sharp crease this time. Okay. There we go. You can also use an X-Acto knife to kind of break some of it off. Although, then you risk pulling off more than you want to, so usually I just sand it down. And I should be wearing a mask for this, so let me grab it real quick after I finish sanding this. Okay, and I'm gonna take that X-Acto knife and just very carefully kind of scrape. It's gonna pull off some of the extra putty. There we go. Okay. There's something here though. Let's see. Oh, it's just dust. Okay, so now I'm just gonna take my Bondo really quick and rub it along right here. I saw a ton of tiny pinholes and I don't want to forget that area. It looked like it was the only place, so I'm just gonna do that real quick and then we'll keep moving. Hello, Destructo. How are you doing tonight? Let's see. We'll grab. I don't know an easy way to do this other than like using my finger. Let's see. I guess I could just take some out here and push it on here. And just kind of, for now, I'm just gonna smudge some of this in here. So this red putty here, this is Bondo that I'm talking about. Bondo is a spot filling and glazing putty, and it's mostly used for automotive cars, but it's really, really effective at filling in tiny, tiny holes. And like such, you know, you're meant to have a flawless car paint job. This will help you fill in all those tiny nicks and crannies, or at least spot them, and so then you can drill them out. Lately, I've just been using it as like something to spot them, and then later on, I'll fill in the holes. I'm doing all right. It's very cold here. It's been snowing and icing and all sorts of things, and so it's colder than usual. And also I'm washing all my clothes, and so I'm just like wearing shorts right now, and it's pretty cold. So good times. But that's fine because they're in the dryer now. All right, so let's continue on. I'm seeing already a couple more holes here that I missed during the first look, so I'm just gonna drill them out and we'll fill them in. A lot of these are located along the edge of the frills, and that's because that was the sanding seam line. Come on, really, camera? There we go. Just trying to get a good view here. Right, there's one here. Oh, that one is just like completely filled in my drill bit. I can't tell if that there is one. Let me hold that up to the light. No, it just looks like a dust or something. Oh, there's a couple over here too, but I think Bondo will cover those ones. All right, and okay, so it looks like the next ones we're gonna do are these sides and that side. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Thank you. Definitely appreciated. You got a lot of bits. For real. Thank you. That means a lot. We're just hanging out here and building. Oh, I see. I forgot that's something that Twitch does. To be honest, I'm like not on Twitch probably as much as I would like to be. So I don't even know where the board is. Yeah, I don't even know. How do you just purchase bits? I'm like still confused on that aspect. I shouldn't be asking. I should just figure this out on my own, but oh, okay. I'm sure like sometimes Twitch does like specials and stuff though, where you can get them like on a sale or whatever, maybe. All right, got this two sides puttied, so I'm gonna fill in these 3 holes now and see where that goes. And then we'll just keep moving along. This piece is actually the better of the two. This piece here is pretty rough. Like you can see all of the holes maybe. Well, probably not. Let's see. So there we go. So at that angle, you can see all the holes we have to tackle. This piece of the skirt is considerably worse than this side over here, which is mostly they're on the frills and kind of in a couple random spots. Yeah. That's what I mean, Kari, by me not having the good cast. Because this is, to be honest, bubbles like this in a spot that's not the seam line is highly unusual. This means that, at least like in all of the casts that I built, you usually don't get bubbling that's like all over the piece unless it's pretty poorly cast. A lot of times sculptors try to really minimize the bubbles along the seam lines, or you may get it concentrated in one spot because maybe just like that part of the mold was not in a good location, or maybe it was offset a little, but all over the kit that's not a good sign. So when I noticed all of these bubbles popping up, I was just like, oh boy, we got some work to do. Let me drill this one out a little more. Oh, it actually looks like it's almost going through. So in that case, let's just drill through it. Yeah, it's such a huge pain, and like I don't really mind puttying, but the issue is when like the amount of time it takes. Like every bit that you spend puttying, you could be, you know, getting ready to paint the kit and priming it, and so yeah, it's just a waste of time. It's more work. Sometimes it's the sculptor's fault, sometimes it's not, but you know, especially for these types of figures, we really look for a super smooth cast. And so if you know, just prime, if I didn't pop those bubbles and I just primed over it, parts of that cast would look just indented, or kind of like, it would have a texture, like a prickly texture, and that's not really desirable for these types of figures. So it's easier just to, you know, take the time and pop all the bubbles out and sand them in as much as you can, prime it. You know, primer will fill in some of the stuff, so that's good, but a lot of times you just have to manually do it yourself, so it's a labor of love. Okay, so I'm gonna get these sides, or these two holes here, and then I'm gonna re-putty that hole because I didn't do it correctly the first time, and then I needed to drill through it, so. Check your posture and hydrate. Well, the hydrate I can definitely agree with. The posture, I will almost always be like hunched over, working like a gremlin at this desk. I don't think there's ever a time where I'm not like gremlin mode. Maybe when I'm airbrushing, like I'm okay with that, but even then. Stretch, I can agree with. Yeah, definitely important to stretch. I will consider putting in those buttons. Yeah, Curry can attest to when I get busy, I'm just like up here nonstop, and I really don't take breaks or stretch or do anything, so. Okay, let's get that puttied real quick. Hello, Rebel Star, nice to see you. Happy New Year. How have you been? How's your new year going, etc.? Ooh, okay, so I saw a hole. Better chair. Yeah, I need something. The other issue with my setup is that my desk is relatively low, I guess, compared to a lot of the types of, you know, executive gamer chairs, whatever, that are out there, and so it's been kind of hard to find a chair that fits the setup that I can comfortably sit at for whatever reason. I usually have to have it like all the way down at like the lowest setting a chair has, I guess. I don't know if chairs have settings. And I also don't like armrests, so armrests are completely useless for me when I'm sitting here. So the closest I usually get is like a stool, but then you want a backing to it, so it's whatever. Alright, this one looks good. Okay, much better. Let me see if this camera will pick it up. It's probably way too fine. Nope, right there. So I'm kind of pointing right here at the frills. You can see there's this off color one. That's what we just puttied in. So it's like right here. And so that, you know, is the putty. We'll probably have to shape this frill a little bit better. But you know, you can put putty on edges and have it, you know, kind of mold into it. Let's see, yes, I am doing okay. As I've kind of been telling everyone here, it's very cold today because it finally snowed. It hasn't snowed in forever, and so I'm very happy about the snow, but it is cold and icy. And so that's my mood. Icy, cold, and sick of COVID. That's the 2022 mood apparently so far. All right. So we've got these sides done, this one. Okay, so we're gonna work on this kind of, oops, sorry. We're gonna work on this corner here, and this has a couple holes in it. Rotating bar stool. Yeah, that'll work. I don't like stuff that rotates too much either though, because I'm really not doing a lot of rotating here. I need something that's just like completely stable. But it does need to roll because I have my airbrush station on the left here, and so I often go, you know, between the two, or I'm moving my paints around, etc. And so that's needed. To be honest though, there's like definitely stuff that I would invest more in right now rather than a chair. But chairs are important. Especially if you spend so much time at your desk. So it's kind of worth it to like spend your money and get a nice chair. All right, let's put a couple bit more putty on here. We've got 4 holes we need to fill. And then I'm gonna take a look at this Bondo because it should be mostly dry by now. Again, we'll go back and we'll Bondo everything later. But this spot in particular, I didn't want to forget, and so I'm just doing this one ahead of time, roughly. All right, so let's get this going. About done with this sandpaper. Yeah, let's start using this one instead. The finer it goes, I feel like the easier it is for these grits to, or the sandpaper to clog up, because the grits are finer. Pretty easy to do wet sanding and get some of these off, but this paper's so cheap, it's kind of like whatever. All right, and there's one on the side here, so I'm gonna get this side one, and then we'll go back and check the front here, and then Bondo, the Bondo one. Definitely feel like the Spotify playlist has shaken it up a little bit. I think they added some new tunes, rotated some old ones that were causing problems. But I am sorry if you have to check YouTube later. My last stream muted like part of it because one of the songs was DMCA beats. So regretfully, we'll have a little gap. Okay, let's get this here. So let me look at it now. Okay, there's this slight area here that I missed that I'm gonna re-drill. So, and there's also one here. So there's 2 more holes here that I'm seeing. One is just a regular hole, and the other one is because I didn't putty it correctly. So you really want to aim to fill in the hole that you're trying to putty, obviously, but if you don't, you're gonna see a little bit of a nick. I don't know how to explain it. It's like a tiny little dent or a scratch, and that means that there's still some area that needs to be filled. Okay, so let's put that up. Let's see, so when it gets DMCA'd, you can try to salvage Oh wait, let's see. You can set OBS to record music and mic audio in different channels. Interesting. I'll have to look into that because I'm not super familiar. I do use Streamlabs, and so that's a good idea. I thought I do have it in different channels though. I'll have to figure that out. Luckily it's like not too much too often that it happens, but it would be nice to be able to like get my audio of me talking and have that separate. Alternatively, I was wondering if I should just use like a YouTube playlist. I don't know if people do that rather than stream it through Spotify. But then like if you use that and you post it on Twitch, if Twitch mutes it from, I don't know, there's lots and lots of stuff. I don't know, that's getting into like, I don't really care too much. Streamlabs should have it. Okay, yeah, definitely DM me or just like at me in a post and I will definitely check it out. I would really appreciate that. Thank you. Even now, it seems like I've been streaming for so long, but I'm still learning stuff all the time, so that's how it goes with all the hobbies, you know? You're always learning new stuff. Alright, let's get these two holes sanded out, because I want to go to that Bondo side. Streaming is hard. Yeah, tell me about it. It was pretty rough when I first started out. I think now we've got a good setup. We've got, for the most part, you know, my layout's good. I'm happy with it, at least content. There's always things you can do to improve it. But the hardest thing is just the actual streaming. I think a lot of times it's like just working up the motivation to do it is pretty tough. You really got to get on a schedule. All right, I think this is looking good now. I realize it's, you know, unfocused again. Yeah, I don't see any immediate here, so that's good. So let's go back to this Bondo side, and I'm just gonna sand out all of this redness and hope that there's some holes here that I've filled in. If not, I'm not really sure what's going on, because I definitely saw a ton. Oh yeah, I'm seeing them. Okay. So they might be pretty hard to spot on the camera. I know last time, especially when we did the made kit, they were pretty hard to see. I had to like take a photo and show you guys, but we'll try. Let's see. There are also stream-friendly music services like Pretzel. I've never heard of Pretzel. I'll have to look that up too. And it just like, it's made for streaming. Is it only through an app? That one sounds fun too, so maybe I'll look into that one as well. All right, so let's see if you guys can see. Oh, that's camera. Nice camera. Oh, it caught it for a brief moment. There we go. Brief moment. You can see all the tiny dots. That is the Bondo. So, I guess I can try to take a photo real quick too and zoom in. We'll have lots of like before and after photos later. Let's see. I also have my new phone, so I'm not 100% sure how this is gonna go. Yeah, so if you see my phone on the camera or on stream, that's what's happening. There we go. Okay, I got it. So this is what we're looking at a huge macro level or micro level scale. Bondo basically filled in all of the pieces that are like here. And so there's tons of like tiny holes that we will be noticing. Oops, I just closed my phone. But yeah, that's basically what I wanted to see and show you guys, is that, you know, I'm not crazy. There are like lots and lots of tiny holes here that we're gonna have to be filling in. Okay, so, oh yeah, let me read this comment first. I don't stream, so I've never set it up. You know, a few streamers use it. It has 40,000 Twitch safe tracks. Wow. Yeah, thank you for that hint. I will definitely check that out, because everyone gets sick of hearing lo-fi beats, the same one over and over and over. my Spotify is now like ruined from the suggestions because all I get is like lo-fi streams. I don't mean that in a mean way. I just mean that like it definitely, there's limitations, and so that sounds awesome. Both of those routes sound great, so I will check out Pretzel. I will await the audio streaming possibilities, and we'll figure this out. And hopefully this new year we'll have a variety of genres. That will be nice. That would be great. Anyway, so let me see. I think we're pretty much good on this piece for now because I don't see any more giant holes that need to be filled in. So let's move on to the terrible piece. One of the rougher ones, I think, of this kit. You can see here they fit in with magnets, so that's nice and lovely. Nice satisfying snaps. Yeah, I'm just stalling for time because I don't want to start this, but we got to start somewhere. So, like I mentioned before, lots of holes everywhere. This is not a hole. This is part of a magnet that I drilled too far, but you know, it's still smooth. You can just kind of barely see the hint of a magnet. So that's okay. That's not something we want to drill out. When we prime over that, it'll go away. So just kind of, if you're wondering what this is, it's not dirt. It's from the magnet. I guess I'll just start at the top and let's see. Sorry, there's like another hole here. Something's odd here. Yeah, let's start at the top and then just work on the front, I guess. And then if any stuff on the sides, we'll do after that. But I want to fill in all of these holes on the front first. That will probably correct a large portion of the problems with this kit. But because there are so many on the front, I don't really trust it. There might be a lot of pinholes too. Also, there's a tiny hair here. Oh my goodness. Okay. There we go. I think there's a hole here that I missed. Yeah. Or at least I didn't drill far enough. So we're gonna do the same thing. We're just gonna work with a few at a time. That way we make sure that each of them is filled in as we go. Because I really want to make sure that we finish something before we move on. And also, as we sand these, the shadow of it will kind of fill in other areas, and then we'll be able to see if we missed spots. Let's see. Sorry if you've already been over this. Do you have any plans or goals for this year? No, actually, we haven't talked about New Year's resolutions or anything, so thank you for bringing that up. I don't have too many goals this I was gonna say semester. I'm already thinking in terms of school. I don't have too many goals this year. There's a new eye style that I've really been wanting to try that I think I'm gonna go for maybe in my spare time if I have any. So we'll see about that. Mainly I'm like interested in the dolly eye style, so like ball joint doll eye style. And so I'm really curious about exploring what that's like in a garage kit setting. I don't know if I can do it or if it's possible, but I'm gonna try. And so I purchased some of the pastels they use for, you know, that type of thing, and we'll see how that goes. I do have a couple more. Let me answer these questions first. Let's see. Hello, Bunny. Hello, Fries. Let's see. Are you filling in pinholes? And yes, well, I'm filling in both. So we've got lots of pinholes here. We've got lots of bubbles here. I've been drilling out all of the troublesome ones that I saw, and so we're at the stage where we're filling those in now with Tamiya Light Curing Putty. So that's our agenda for tonight. Tiny pinholes will also be filling in later with the Bondo glazing and spot. And yeah, I was going somewhere with that, but we'll be doing that later. And yes, Fries, lots of holes to be puttied. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I remember, Rebel, you said that you were planning to purchase that one doll, or I think that was you, right? But yeah, let's see, ball joint dolls have pretty eyes. Yeah, they're such a unique style. And I've seen the painting techniques mostly on Chinese garage kits, and so I'm really interested in exploring the potentials of that. And, you know, because the techniques are similar, but they're different. And I'd like to see, you know, I'm getting kind of tired of enamel as much as I love it. I want to start experimenting with stuff, and so I think that'd be fun. There's also a particular kit or two that I'd like to build, but I'm making no promises on it right now, so I'm not even gonna post it. There's one I've been trying to build for like 3 years, but I have a very clear vision of how I want to do it, and I'm not sure how to execute it yet, and so maybe this will be the year. Who knows? Basically, as long as I finish more than like 3 kits, that's usually my resolution, then I'm good. And I think that's possible this year. Let's see, that one doll became a few. Oh boy. How many do you have now? How many have you purchased? That's last time we talked. I feel like it wasn't that many. And let's see, I feel the ball joint doll style and garage kit would be hard to emulate because they have actual eyeballs. Yeah, so yeah, they usually have the glass eyes. I do know that. Yeah, that's true. Mostly I think what I'm looking for in terms of like the style is I really like the shading that they do. So, you know, there's a lot of emphasis on the like really pinky, you know, eye area. They have a lot of like, you know, I don't know. It's hard to explain. They have a lot of eyelashes. They have a lot of shading and natural looking makeup, I guess. So they do have like a lot of makeup. And you don't see that too much on garage kits like normally. And so I like that idea. Let's see, is the doll eye technique that thing where they paint the top eyelashes bigger than the actual eyeball? Yeah, that too. So there's tons of tutorials out there of like ball joint doll face ups. And a lot of times, yeah, they paint the eyelashes really like delicate, and there's a lot of them. The problem that I'm already like foreseeing is that the doll face is like already so big, right? So it's like that big, and so you have a lot of room to work with the technique and like get in that detail. Whereas like garage kit faces, I have one like they're like that big, so it's really, you got to think about how you're gonna like implement the style and get it on like a micro scale. And so we'll see. There's just lots to consider, but I'm really fascinated by the technique, and I like watching the builds of it. And they're just so pretty, so I really like that kind of delicate style. Who knows? We'll see how it works out. Let's see, I have a 30 centimeter one, two 15 centimeters one, and a few extra face plates. Oh man, yeah. I mean, that, like dolls, they're a whole other ball game. Like they're their own hobby that's outside of kits. And so I can't get a doll, not because like I don't want one, but because if I get one, it's like already guaranteed that I would spend more on that doll's clothes than I would on my own clothes. Like I don't buy clothes for myself that often. My doll would have a beautiful wardrobe and I would be in a burlap sack. Like that's what the reality would be. Like I already buy clothes for my Kermit, and that's already too much. Here's my Kermit. Let me zoom out. So yeah, my Kermit's in his back to school gear. He already has some outfits. And like a ball joint doll is like multiply that by like 500, and that's how much I'd have. Let's see, I've seen some people do doll-like face painting on desktop armies. Oh man, those are really small. Let me see, desktop army. Is that like the plum ones, like the plastic ones? Because I do follow a couple of artists who do that type of thing, and so that's kind of where my inspiration's coming from. My Kermit, yeah, he's sitting on my shelf. I keep him as support, and right now he is wearing his back to school. It's been a long time since I've changed his outfit, every time we go to Disney store, I try to buy him a new outfit because they don't go to Disney store that often. And so usually when I go, it's like there's a special reason, and so I have an excuse to buy Kermit more outfits. And by then they have lots of them for him. I'm gonna drill a couple more of these holes that I saw. And then I'm gonna put these up to the light and work on that. Let's see, your 30 centimeter one is gonna be the moody goth girl I could never be. Yeah, that's a big mood, right? Like buying your doll and then curating its wardrobe to stuff that like you'll never wear or be able to wear, or it's just too expensive or whatever. That's a huge mood. Honestly, like a lot of time me building the kits and having like a specific mood or hairstyle or whatever is like a way of me putting out the fashion I wish I could have. So they're great, like dolls, you know, kits, all sorts of things. You can just do whatever you want with them, and it's a reflection of your personal style and yourself. And so that's why both of those hobbies are so fun. Can't fault anybody for the choices that they make, because, you know, it's all a matter of their creativity and what they want to do. Love to see it. All right, these are now dry, so let's keep moving along. We've already filled in quite a few of these holes, but like I said, this is gonna be one of the big ones. I also keep like smelling this orange smell, and I'm like, why is it smelling like orange? And it's because I lit a candle earlier. I haven't lit a candle in a while, so I'm just like surprising myself. This is a weird song. I don't know about that. Also, that was really weird. There was like a special, not loading screen, but like song play. I don't know what it is. It's like the line when the song is playing. It was like a special custom version of that. I don't think I've ever seen that before. That was really weird. I do want to build some like gothic kit, since I'm rereading your comment, Rebel Star. I do want to build some sort of kit with black hair this year, or at least like dark, you know, purpley black hair. Because it's been quite a while since I've done that. And there's one or two that I have in mind. But it will highly depend on my motivation. I have some lovely paint from the, I think, Mr. Lashevis line. And it claims to spray a really nice black hair. And so I'll have to see if that's true. I think I did a test spray before on that, just like on a spoon or something, but it's been a while since I've looked at it. And that one was supposed to give you some anime black hair. Because very rarely do you want to just spray like black onto the kit's hair. Usually it's some sort of mixture of dark grayish black or purple in there and all sorts of things. So that one would be nice. I was like looking through my gallery and I was like, I need something with black hair. It's been a while. All right. Last year was very blue and pink. Blue, pink, and red. Those were the colors that I seemed to trend around. I don't know why. I mean, I always like to paint pink, so I know the reason for that. But I'm hoping this year I can work with some more varieties of colors. Especially since now I'm just mainly working on my own stuff outside of wrapping up commissions. I'll be able to pull a couple out of my closet and do whatever I want to them, so that will be nice. Okay, let's see. I found it. One of the doll like desktop. Oh, cool. Let me check this link right now. That'd be funny if it was like a similar account that I follow. Let's see. Oh, cute. No, I have not seen this. That's really cute. Wow, those are tiny though. Those are so small. These look like, so I'm not really too familiar, but are they like plastic models? Yeah, it looks like it, because they're like the little jointed plastic models. It looks like this person does a lot of customs on them though. That's cute. Yeah, I like the eye style. I like the one where it's the little clover clothing. Let's see. Not the big girl, but there's like a little one that's blonde with a clover dress. That's cute. There's a big custom community for them. Interesting. There's a couple of ones that I follow that do custom faceplates of, I wish I could remember it. It's one of the plastic army girls. You know, there's many lines of them. They're usually like the mecha kind of girls. But there's a couple ones I follow that do a specific model type. And the faces I think are about like Figma size. So they're like, you know, maybe about that big. But they do such a nice job on having a unique style that I wish I could figure out how. I think they use gouache. Am I saying that right? It's like acrylic. And they kind of blend everything in. And that's a style I would like to learn as well. There's a lot of techniques I want to learn. Let's see. I think you don't actually build the girls. They come assembled. You only build the weapons that come with them. Oh, okay. That's a lot easier then, to be honest. Because a lot of the ones that are like the plastic girls, there's so much work involved trying to like put everything together. That makes it a lot easier if you're just able to like do the customs you want on it. All right. So we got those holes filled in. There's a huge pocket of them over here, which we're going to work on next. You can see all of this section is what we're going to work on. There's already a bunch we've filled in here. All of those are holes that I've drilled out, and we're working. That's all I can say about that. All right. So let's get these filled in. I'm just kind of going to put a huge glob down and hope for the best here. I don't think I own any plastic model girls. I actually don't own that many plastic kits since I didn't come from a plastic kit background. Although that is something that I would consider building someday. I'm willing to try anything. Well, almost anything. Let's see. Some of those plastic ones too, at least they have like the third-party resin stuff or custom resin stuff, and they get very expensive on secondhand websites. Like I've straight up seen accessory pieces sell for, you know, 8,000-10,000 yen. So some people get really into that too. I'm gonna putty these ones over here as well, just because. It's always fun to work with, you know, new materials and new things too, and try new projects. All right, let me hold this up to the light now that we've got a whole bunch of this ready. This camera's having a tough time because it's like so neon and then my glove is so bright. Let's see. Oh yeah, Rebel Star, you make a great comment about the generating like sewing the clothes too. So that's something that's completely different as well. You know, sewing, that's something that I know I have zero skill for. I can only do pretty basic, you know, repairs and like sew buttons on and stuff. So making tiny patterns and stuff like that, totally. Yeah, it's very difficult. I think that, isn't there a market for it on like Etsy and stuff? I'm sure there is. Tiny clothes, because I've seen people sell their, you know, little custom builds and stuff, or their custom patterns. Once you get into that, you also get into other doll communities that do like the face paints and then the custom clothes and all of that. Those are fun topics to dive into as well. If you've ever looked up, like, what is it, like the Monster High or something. They have entire face paints of those. I looked through all of those when I was doing my ball joint doll binge. They're all tied together and yet totally different. So it's fun to explore, you know, all sorts of communities like that and see what they have to offer. There's lots of stuff that you know, kind of does end up overlapping in this hobby to some extent, or you can see yourself like, you know, taking parts of it and making it your own. That's the cool thing about these creative outlets. Let's see, wig making, you tried 2 so far. Oh, like cosplay wigs, or like wigs for your doll fees and stuff, because they're 2 very different types of doll wigs. Okay, yeah, I can see that being its own issue as well. I don't think I've ever tried doing doll wigs or like customizing doll wigs because I don't have a doll. But yeah, I imagine that would be, it's like if you know how to do it on cosplay level, try doing it to a tiny doll now. And I have tried styling cosplay wigs before, and it's also its own thing and its own skill. People are so talented. It's just so many things to learn in this world. All right, trying to do these ones over here first, and then we'll start working on this pile of holes over here. I think that's about good. Okay, there we go. So let's just get going. I think wigs are what scare you the most about dolls. I'm sure I wouldn't be able to keep them cute. Yeah, same with me. The most I can do is like braid my hair on a good day. I am really not into the whole like spending an hour to do my own hair. Like that just does not happen. And then like even when I did cosplay wigs, it's so much work to keep them like beautiful and not getting matted up. Like that was its own thing. So on a doll level, I'm sure that would be like keeping it silky is something. I'm sure there's product or something you could use to help keep it nice, but again, that's not something that I've ever explored. I do like cosplay wigs though. Those are fun to like, you know, wear, especially the really long haired ones. They're just fun. I usually break them out around Halloween. But it's not like we've had a good Halloween in the past while, so. Have I done much cosplay? I've dabbled. I did you know, I won't say I'm a cosplayer. I usually do it if it's like required of a group, you know, going to a con. I don't like it. I'm gonna be completely honest. I'm not a fan of cosplay. Like, I like other people cosplaying. I don't like doing it myself. I don't like attention on me. And so when I go to a con and I'm in an outfit, usually I get attention. And so that like really kind of stresses me out. And I've had a couple of weird experiences, as probably most women cosplaying have. And so I just don't really do it unless it's required of me. But yeah, like the act of dressing up as someone is fun, and if it's a character that you love, you know, it's a lot of fun, especially if it's in a group, because then you can do the whole group dynamic. And so I will do it if it's in a group, because then, you know, you feel a lot safer, and you have the group dynamic to bounce off of, as opposed to like you just walking around as like some person. You know what I mean? Like there's levels to it. But I do have like a ton of wigs that I bought a bunch of wigs before. I have wigs in my closet and all of that. Kind of like, I don't know what to do with them. I gave away a bunch of stuff a while back to someone who was interested in cosplaying. But yeah, not totally for me. Again, something that I greatly enjoy looking at for other people, and I'm consistently impressed by the amount of skill that people have. If there's one person that like amazes me the most, I wish I remembered her name. It's like Alicia or something, and she's always on like the front page of Reddit and like on websites and stuff, and she's considered like one of the masters of cosplay, because she just, Tabitha, maybe that's her name, I don't know, but she just blends into her costumes, and it's so cool. She does like men and women, and just she has some sort of face that matches the faces that a lot of people in Hollywood are hired for, and so she ends up doing these like spot on cosplays through her contouring costumes, and it's just so cool. I wish I could remember her name. If I remember it, I'll look it up and I'll post it. Alright, let's see. We've got one more stubborn kind of putty bit right here that I'm trying to get to. It's in the middle, like almost in the crevice here. So I'm gonna fold my paper. And let's see. There we go. It's a little bit rough to get that in there, but I think that we got most of that. It's also like a, let me grab, there we go. Some weird hair there. Taking just a look right now. Seeing if any other ones catch my eye right away. There's a bunch down here that we're gonna need to fill, but right now we're just working on the front here. See one here that I did not pop, but I'm not. Oh, yep, that is definitely a hole. Oh, wow, it just went straight through. So that was, something was going on there. Either I drilled too far or that was already part of a hole and it just bust through. Let's see. Hold this up real quick. There's a lot of potential holes here. Let's see if I can check again. I don't think I'll mess with that area right now. I don't really see any sticking out. So there's only a couple more. There's 2 here and then 2 up here. So let's get those puttied first and then we'll work along the edge of the frills here because there's a couple more. Actually not quite as bad as I thought once all of these are filled in. But that's to be determined once, you know, we put on the Bondo and all of that. But this piece is pretty thin, so if we're not seeing them shine through right now, I think we should be probably okay. That's kind of a huge glob. I don't think I needed that much, but that's fine. Could have used it over here. Okay, I'm gonna get another toothpick. That putty was starting to glue up, or at least like it was dry, so I wasn't able to use it. Okay. Now this one has a hole that goes through to either side, and so I want to make sure I get this one side filled, and then the other side here, it's already starting to kind of poke through, but I'm gonna putty the other side too, and just kind of try to get that filled in as much as possible. And we'll sand out this inside as well. Okay, that should be good. Sorry, I'm holding it at a weird angle. All right, so we got these spots, and we're gonna hold this up to the light. And it will take kind of twice as long because I have to flip this piece over because we did putty that other side, so. Okay. All right, one side is good. Let's get that other side. Pretty good so far, not too bad. See a lot of potential roughness along the sides of the frills on both sides of these skirts, so that's gonna need some more cleanup later. All right, so let's get this sanded. I'll work on this one first. And I actually brought out my light curing or my UV curing resin, but I don't think I'm gonna use that tonight just because this fresh putty is so nice to work with. The only reason or way I can see myself using it on this kit is to fill in the hole that's up here. So there's these huge holes on the top of her head that need filling in. So I'll probably use the UV curing stuff to fill in a good portion of that because it's very liquid, so it'll just kind of seep into the bottom of the giant hole. I like using the UV curing stuff, but it's also kind of hard to tell when you finished sanding it, and so a lot of times I end up not sanding it enough, and then when I go to prime I have to sand it all over again. Yeah, that's probably the worst part of the kit, other than like the numerous holes that are all over this. That's the biggest one that's on this kit, and that was kind of a shock when I like discovered it. I was like, oh boy. I mean, there's holes everywhere. On every piece there's at least 1 or 2 holes that we'll need to putty in. But this putty is good too, because that way you guys can like see it. Can actually figure out what I'm doing, not just sanding at some clear stuff. Let's see, I always miss some. I'm too impatient. Yeah, thank you. Just, yeah, it really just comes down to like half of it's my stubbornness, and then the other part is like at this point I have to have it filled. Nothing wrong with like missing some here and there though. You know, there's definitely been times where there's like a tiny nick or a bubble in a spot that's not super obvious, and I'm just like, you know what, forget it. Like, I'm not gonna mess with it. You guys know your own limits of how much prep you're willing to put in, so it's just a matter of like how much you care about it and care about the kit too, right? Some kits I'm sure are less loved than others. We say we love all our kits, but there's definitely kits that I love more than other kits. So the ones that I'm just, you know, using for experimentation or whatever, those ones sometimes I skirt by a little bit. All right, I'm gonna throw away these and get a new thing. Let's get this zoomed in again. Come on, kit. There we go. All right. This is the last hole on this one, and then on the other side we'll quickly do that. And then move along the frills. There's only a couple I saw on the frills, so we're making good progress here. Okay. I've kind of flattened this into a triangle shape. Well, that would be useful if you guys could see it, huh? Let's see. So I've kind of flattened this into like a triangle shape, and that's typically what I use when I'm like trying to go at it from a flat surface. Or at least I try to get it that way. I want to be careful not to over sand this detail though, because this is like right on a fold. You can kind of see the shadow of the fold. So I don't want to lose that detail. Probably should have busted out my coarser grit here. This one I put on a little bit too much putty. But we're almost there. Okay. yeah, forget it. Let's see. I think I have a tiny 400 here. I am getting bothered by this. It's like an eyelash. That was weird. Okay. Really don't need very much at all. Just peels that right off. There we go. Okay, so that just about covers that hole. You can see it's right here, pretty visible. That's because we drilled straight through it. So now let me get this one. And I am gonna use my 400 here. Actually, it's a big enough piece. What I can also do is try to cut some of it with my X-Acto knife, but it's at a kind of a weird angle, so I'm not really gonna mess with that. Let's see. I have a bunch of sandpaper here. This is my, not nubs, but like big section of paper. All right, so this is a 400. I'm gonna take off most of this putty here and then smooth it out with the 800. And this is on the inside of the skirt, so I'm not too worried if I happen to, you know, overstand a little bit. Let's see. Go that way. Just about done. Might be able to peel some of this off now. Yep. Let's see. See how it kind of like flakes off? Might be hard to notice. So like on the tip of my X-Acto. Whoops, it just came off. So there's like a bit like that. That's stuff that did not stick to the hole, but you're able to just kind of like get it off because it flaked. So I'd try not to mess with the putty like that until it's pretty thin and just ready to come off. But yeah, so then this hole is filled on this side too. So that just fills, oops, this is like a random hair. That fills all of the holes up here. Yeah, it looks, you know, you can already see all the yellow that we filled in so far. There's still a couple here, etc. So we're gonna go along the sides here now. I do see a couple of holes, and so we'll just kind of, again, try to do it bit by bit. There's definitely 3 that I see. And a lot of potential Bondo holes. Oh, geez. Oh wait, no, those are the ones I drilled. Yeah, so let's start with those 3, and then after that, I think this piece will be done, and we're ready to move on to the next piece. So, good times. All right, let's putty these 2 first. This putty's getting kind of liquidy here. Hopefully this is the... Just pulled a lot out. I'm not sure if that's the liquid mixing stuff or the actual putty. We'll have to find out. That should be okay. All right, we'll try that first. Okay, so let's hold those 3 up to the light. Okay. I'm seeing a lot of bubbles when I hold this up to the light. But again, I'm not sure if those are like where they are on the kit, if they're visible, if they're surface level scratches, because sometimes you just get bubbles and they're like deeper into the kit, and you don't necessarily need to drill those out if they're just kind of present. but it's the really surface level ones that are an issue, so that's why the sanding can sometimes bring up more than you'd like. I think I missed one here too though, I'm seeing. Yeah, there's one here that I missed. So we'll have to fill that one in too. Sorry, camera. Okay, I still need a couple more seconds on these pieces. Alright, this should be good. Yep, okay, so let's get sanded. These two are pretty easy because they're on a flat surface. Interesting. Okay. It's like a bit of extra that filled in part of the frill here. There we go. Weird. All right. So that one's filled. Let's fill up the other one here. Might need to cut some more on this side. Trying to get this to focus. Let's go. There we go. All right. So this one right here. But my sandpaper is getting a little bit flimsy. So I think what I need to do is use another 800. Yeah, let's just do that right now. Can also use the, oh my god, my Kermit, he just grabbed onto my scissors. I forgot that he has these magnetic arms, so I was like, oh my god, thought I cut Kermit, but he just gripped my scissors. That was a little scary. Yeah, he really was. I was like, what the? He is like in my airbrush booth right now too, so I'm just like, what's going on? Alright. A little bit more. I think the 400 was a pretty good choice here because I kind of put on a lot. Okay, and let's do and let's use the X-Acto. Kind of scrape some of this. I think we can get some of this off. Oops. Don't want to cut the other sides though. Alright. Can be a little annoying, these ones that you have to kind of get in a crevice area. I really prefer bubbles on a flat surface, but sometimes it just works out like that. Okay, and even then, I don't think this filled in all the way, so we're gonna have to probably use some Bondo to finish that section. There we go. Come on. There's the chunk. Yeah, I don't like how there's this little bit here. I'm gonna try to, there we go. Remove that. And yeah, there's still a little bit of a hole there, but the Bondo should fix that, so not too concerned. Can always just re-drill it anyway. All right, so let me take another look at this, but I think we've filled in all of the big holes that I drilled out on this piece. Oh wait, no, there was that one more, that new one. So we'll do this one real quick. I think that's the last one though. Okay, oops. Oh. There we go. Okay, hold that up real quick. And the next piece that we're gonna work on for moving our way up is probably like either the front or the back of this, of her actual skirt. But I think I want to focus on this piece because there's not too much that I need to do on it. I don't really see that many bubbles at all, and so that way we can just get this one done and move on to this one, which will take a lot longer. It's a similar situation. It's got these bubbles in the front and there's a ton in the top. So they're all over the top here. There you go. Just horrible casting on that end. And basically just gonna have to like smear all the putty in there and then sand the whole thing out. This is another like shocking area. When I held this up to the light, I just kept drilling it and I missed a ton as well. There's still more in here that are like micro bubbles. So just casting problems, you know, just how it be. So we'll do the nice one. We're rotating between like nice and horrible to give ourselves a break in between. It looks like a nightmare. Yeah, this was pretty bad. Not the worst I've dealt with, but it's up there with prep that I wish I didn't have to do. Getting flashbacks to the maid kit we built. I feel like there was a lot of puttying and hole filling for that one too. That was a while ago at this point. I'll have to go back to my stream and see if that was actually the case, now that we have a visual record of it. It's funny. I don't really, I keep my streams up and I have them on YouTube. I don't know if I have the heart to look through it all the time, just because it's weird hearing myself talk about stuff. But I do check through them to make sure that everything is okay and that, the audio is good and that I'm not totally off-centered and off-focused. Alright, so that was the last one, I think, of the holes that we drilled initially. So let me just take a look. Yeah, there's a tiny one here, but yeah, I'll fill that one in too. So there's a really small one here in this corner that I feel like is gonna be an issue because it's small enough that Bondo will fill it, but it won't fill it in enough. And then putty will fill it better. But at the same time, we're eventually gonna have to putty the two pieces of the skirt together, so I could do it then, but whatever. We'll do this real quick. So there's one more small hole in the corner of her skirt. And I'm gonna try to not round it out, but keep it sharp, because when we put those two sides of the skirt together, they're meant to be one piece, so we don't wanna round the corner and make it so it doesn't look like it's supposed to be two pieces. I hope that makes sense. Once we sand it out, I can check it and show you guys what I mean. Sometimes that's just how it be with these kits though. You think you're done and then you look through it and then you just find more stuff, and it's just a process that repeats itself over and over and over until you're finally satisfied. Okay, this should be good. Yep. So I'm gonna sand this with the 800 just because it's at a weird spot. It has a lot of potential to just chip off. If I went in with the 400, I feel like it could chip off easier. Alright, so I'm gonna sand flat first on this, and then I'm gonna go along the corner, and that way I have a clear view of whether or not it's angled. And actually, I'm gonna sand this side first, or second. So first, sand it flat. I guess it would help if you guys could see it, huh? First, sand the flat edge, then sand the connecting edge, and then finally sand this edge this way. And by then, you'll have a accurate sand. Oops. Okay, I need some better sandpaper. There we go. And this is where the X-Acto knife also comes in handy, but although it can also chip off like that. Oh, wait. No, actually that worked. Okay, so let's sand this way again. Ideally you get your putty in the hole, so then once you use that blade, it just takes everything off that's not in the hole. Okay. That's a tiny bit rounded, but it'll be fine. Really gonna be hard to see here, but there's like a tiny corner here that looks like an off color. I think you guys can see it. That's where I filled it in. And then you stick the piece together, and you can also just like stick the pieces together and then sand it that way. And that way the whole piece is like lined up with the other one. But I'm not gonna mess with that too much because eventually we are going to fill this whole line with putty once we get past the puttying or the painting and all of that stage. So for now, as long as these fit together and mostly match, like that's fine. They don't need to match perfectly right now, I say as I'm sanding them so they can match. Okay, enough of that. All right, so well, let's keep these connected and take a look, because this is mostly what we worked on tonight. Yeah, I think this looks good for now. There's definitely a couple spots I'm seeing where we're gonna have to Bondo. Oops. But for the most part, we filled in all of those problematic holes, and so it's looking good already. So we can put it like that. She's looking a lot fuller. That skirt doesn't look full of, you know, pock marks and ugliness. And now we're ready to move on to the next piece, which is the upper part of her little skirt here, or her shirt, because she's wearing kind of this like shirt over her skirt. It's almost like a Chinese kind of dress. I think it is almost, but it's got some like longer tails here and, you know, just different stuff. So let's start looking at this. There are a couple of areas here where I'm not going to use my light curing putty. I'm just going to jump straight to Bondo. Actually, I could probably light curing putties those. So there's two lines here. Let's see if you can see them. Very hard to see. They're like here and here. Maybe when I putty them, they'll be more visible. But they're not holes. They're just like lines in the cast. So they're things you could normally sand out. They're almost like a seam line. It probably is part of a seam line. But because this area is so thin and I don't want to lose the detail on this side, because we've got this like line here where we'll paint, I want to just fill these in rather than over sand. So we'll do that. And then there's a couple up here I see. And the biggest thing I noticed was there's a big chunk taken out of this dress here. Mainly like right here. There's this big bubble there. So we want to get rid of that too and fill that in. And I think that's it that's on this. This one did not have very many holes. It just had some thin resin. So let's try filling in those lines first and see how that works. Especially now that I have this new putty that will probably grip into it. We'll see. Yeah, that does seem like it's filling it in. So we'll try. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hold just this up to the light first, and then we'll work on the top part. So we'll work on the two separately. This one will be a lot quicker than the skirt for sure. This one, on the other hand, not so much. And I noticed that I actually drilled out holes on the inside as well, maybe because they were so visible and they might, you know, break through to the other side. So not only do we have to putty one side of the skirt, but we have to putty the other side too. Fun. Her head will be fun too. Lots and lots of bubbles on the head. But we got most of the main body done at this point. good. So now let's just sand and see if this works. Sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't. Depends how deep the hole is, and how well the putty sticks, which also depends, you know, how well you've cleaned your kit, etc. Looks like this is filling in pretty well. Oh yeah, that's looking great. I recall now that I used this on one of the kits I had that had a lot of issues. Yeah, that filled in awesomely. So basically, there's like a very small area of yellow here. You may be able to see if you've got a really sharp eye. That is what I just filled in. So we're gonna do the same thing. There's a couple of scratches up here. Not sure if they're visible again, but we'll fill in those and then fill in this big chunk, and that's it for this piece. So, okay. I will be quiet now and putty. Don't need to do too much here though, because this is also a spot that you're not really gonna see because she's got such a big head. So, alright, this one needs a lot though. Try to keep that somewhat sharp. Okay, that's good. Close this up. Alright, so we've got our putty ready. Let's hold this up to the light. Pretty straightforward. New kit, new year. This will be definitely one that will finish this year for sure, so that's exciting. And then I have no idea. All right, that's pretty good. Let's sand it out. Use some 400 first and see. Time for bed. Oh yeah, no worries, Rebel Star. Thank you for tuning in this far. Appreciate you stopping by, and have a happy new year and good night, and hope to see you on the next stream, which is Thursday. I'm hoping tomorrow I will get a monthly schedule out. I'm not sure if I'll end up doing that, but basically I plan to stream every Tuesday and Thursday this month, so I don't think we have anything going on in terms of holiday or obligations. All right, and we got that one pretty sanded down, so the insides are always interesting. You gotta sand it like a particular angle. That's working fairly well. Hold this that way. Yeah, that worked really well for the most part. Yep, I'm not really seeing too many holes now, or at least the thing. So now there's two more areas here. There's a small bubble that I just filled in on a whim, which I probably did not need to. If this kind of pokes out, that's fine. Like if the putty pops out, this is not in a place that is visible or affecting the cast, but I couldn't tell if I drilled it or if it was there from the beginning, so we're just gonna fill it in anyway. Okay, there we go. Come on. What's going on here? Sorry for the technicalities. Just trying to make sure that's mostly good already. So, all right, so the big one here. Same thing, I'm gonna try to sand on the flat edge first, and then this side, and then the top, although I guess it does not matter too much. But this piece fits against the other side of the dress as well, so we want to make sure that it's kind of as sharp as possible so it matches up with the other side. This was quite a large hole that was present in this cast from the beginning. So I did not pop this bubble, it just was broken when I received the kit. Oops, and it just popped out. Okay, so what I'll need to do here then is drill this in a little bit more, and maybe I'll use my UV resin on this one because it is quite large and I need something a little stronger. Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so I'm gonna bring out my UV Gel Clear R. This is my Gaia Notes UV Curing Resin. Pretty straightforward. It basically acts the same as the putty, The only difference is that it needs UV light to cure as opposed to just a regular light. So I have a little UV light here that shines UV. And oops, put that to the side. Let's see. UV resin is stronger than putty. Maybe not like necessarily. I've never done like a strength test, but I found that for these larger holes, sometimes it works a little better. It just kind of depends on where the hole is and like what you're trying to do here. And so in this case, like this hole is pretty large, and so I think that the liquid binding deeper into the hole might help the strength a little bit. But this is just me completely speculating based on, you know, my building and what I've seen. So yeah, basically like the putty, the light curing putty, I think doesn't have as much of a bonding point, and this stuff you can build up as well. So what I like to do is like put a lot more on, and then it kind of binds to the surface around it, and then you can sand it down, and it takes a little bit more effort to sand down too, which is why I end up thinking it's a little bit stronger. But your mileage may vary depending on like what type of UV putty you end up using, because this is the brand special one, not like a nail putty or anything like that. All right, so we've got that. There's a little shiny bit of it you can see kind of shining on the end here. It's very clear. And so what we're gonna do is just put on a UV light for 30 seconds to a minute, and that will completely cure this piece of putty. And then we can just sand it down. Although I have had it break off sometimes too, so we'll find out which one wins, or if it's just me with the issue. Let's see, I've heard UV resin isn't the strongest, but it's probably comparing it to epoxy resin. Oh yeah, so yeah, epoxy resin is a totally different material compared to this stuff. And this stuff's pretty fragile, all things considered. But it's great at filling in holes as well as like clear piece holes and stuff like that. Yeah, I wouldn't say that this would be something that you would do on large scale repairs, just because also the viscous nature of it, it's really meant for these like small situations. It's almost done. Just rub it. This light's really handy though, having like a little UV light like this. I think I probably mentioned it on another stream somewhere, but I actually bought this at a hardware store because it was used for finding scorpions. So if you ever go to like a hardware store, you can probably find a handheld UV light, because scorpions glow under UV light at night, and so it's a good way to not have to buy like a whole nail setup or whatever, and just have a little desk lamp or a little spotting UV light. I've never tried it with a like UV bulb either though, because they definitely sell UV, you know, bulbs, blacklight bulbs, and that might work too. Okay. I'm gonna do this with a 400 and see where that takes us. It feels like it's working, but I don't know. And that's the thing, when I'm sanding this, all I can see is like a shadow. And so if I've sanded the shadow away, then I hope that it's good, but we'll find out when we prime. So far, so good though. Speculating on that side. I don't know if I trust that side. Also, I feel like it's a little easier to get sharper creases with putty and not the UV, but we'll see. Oops. I always move my piece downward, so. Now that worked pretty well. So let me hold this up and compare it to this one. Yeah, unfortunately it's not too sharp. There's a little bit of a rounded bit to this, you can see. So this should match up. What we might have to do is do some puttying on this too after we've glued it together, and putty over that and then make that sharp again. Yeah, because it's gonna be annoying building that up. I guess I could try, but I'm not sure if I feel like doing that. It's also, yeah, there's some work that's gonna need to happen here because these pieces are not like perfectly aligned either. Well, the magnet is in the right place, but the cast is not matched up right. Yeah, there'll be some work needed on that. But that's a later problem. We're not gonna mess with that right now. Right now we're just trying to fill in holes. So that worked well. And I'll just kind of do that. Okay, this piece should be good then if we're just looking for imperfections. Oh wait, I'm dumb. There is one here we need to fill. I thought for whatever reason there was something coming out of her back, but now that I'm remembering it, it was a hole that we drilled too far, and then I said, oh, I won't worry about it because we'll be filling it in later. And this is the hole. I know because there's a magnet here, so let's fill that in real quick. My putty came out in one big glob too. So while we mess around with that, I'm gonna take some of the putty that's on here and just fill in a couple of these. So I really don't want to waste this putty. Oh my gosh, is this one of those talking songs? I skip. Skip. No, thank you. All right, let's finish this up. Oh, it's already almost hard. So you can see it's kind of like hardening on the toothpick. That's from my light, so. Yeah, I think we're about done on that. I'm gonna wipe this. Okay, so let's hold up this one first and wrap this piece up, and then with the brief time we have left, we'll sand down those other holes and maybe fill in that one that I messed up. Gonna bust out the 400 on this back piece because that was kind of a big glob that I put on. Okay, this should be good. There we go. All right, here's the 400. Let's get this going. This will be good though. We'll try to get as much of that done. Then on Thursday we'll have the front part, and maybe we can finally get into the head and stuff. The tiny detail pieces don't take very long because they generally only have room for a couple holes. So it's these bigger ones that always take more time. Let me cut this real quick. Go. Okay. got a lot of putty on this one. Okay, almost hitting the bare resin, so I want to start being careful. So I don't want to over sand and I don't want to scratch it. Okay, so I'm going to switch now. Can already kind of see the over sanding starting to happen. And let me get a new 800. Should be good. All right. Last bit. There we go. Yep, there we go. All good. Let me double check, make sure there's not any flakiness, because I see a little bit. Actually, I see a pinhole here too. Yeah, that was just a hole. So that's unfortunate. I thought we were done, but we're not. Looks like this is just what piece we'll have to wrap up with tonight. We still have a couple minor holes and things to fill in. Alright, so let's fill in this one real quick. Oh, my putty is starting to come out of the tube. I was hoping that it wouldn't be the case. So I've got another huge glob of putty because it's just kind of like coming out. So I don't know an easy way to do that. Let's take this and I'm going to take a new toothpick and take small bits of putty off. Oops. There we go. Okay. So one hole here. And might as well just put it in that other piece again until this decides to dry. A lot going on here, so it wants to focus on stuff. All right. So we won't sand these holes tonight. I'm just using the putty to fill them in because I took out a lot of extra putty. There's a little hair here. There we go. Hairs are the worst in this hobby. Okay. Unfortunately, I think some of this putty is gonna go to waste because I pulled out a lot of it. It just all kind of came out in a tube. Fill in this last side hole too. Over here. Okay, that should be good. I'm not even gonna hold that up to the light. I'm just gonna leave it vaguely over that side and then it will eventually cure itself. Or I'll just hold it up to the light after the stream. That works too. And then we'll deal with that on Thursday. But for now, we'll finish up this back. I also wonder if it's worth drilling, like she has this hair in her eyeball, and wondering if it's worth it to drill it out and putty it back in. But that gets a little annoying. I really hate puttying holes that are right on the front of the face. That's like, if you're gonna put holes on the kit somewhere, don't put them on the front of the face, please. sanding this out with the 400. It's in kind of a weird spot, so I want to try to get as much of it gone as possible, and then I'll buff it out a lot with the 800 to get rid of all these scratches. There we go. Okay, so let's do the 800. It's in kind of a place between a crease and a fold, so that was a little easier than I thought. Yeah, it's also in her back, so we're really not going to see too much of this, but still want to make sure. That all looks good. Yeah, I think I oversanded a little bit, but it's nothing too rough. All right. So that should be good for this piece. You can see this is the hole that's a little bit darker colored, but that's because we drilled all the way through. So generally I find that the holes that we drill through are a little bit darker than the tiny pinholes, just because the way the light hits it and all of that. But I think that that is pretty much good. Yeah, I think I'm safe to stop at this spot, mostly because I want to go get a drink. I still have stuff to do. But yeah, so we managed to do a lot this time. We basically just finished the skirt. To me, this is like the biggest part of the kit other than her head. They are literally like the same size, and so most of the holes were on here. So we did a good portion of the work of this whole kit, to be honest. But yeah, so we finished that. We also finished the back here, and so next time on this stream we are going to continue putty work, just how it rolls with this type of thing. We're gonna start with this piece here, the front of the dress, because that was another area that was really affected, and then probably transition up into her arms, which are 3 pieces actually. There's the little detail, there's this frills, and then the main body of it, and so we've got 2 of those. Luckily, I think that these are mostly in good shape. I don't remember drilling a lot of holes on those. Yeah, there's only a couple here, so it should move on relatively faster. And then yeah, we got the head and etc. Unfortunately, because the cast is so poor, we're just going to be spending a lot of our time working on the puttying, but you know, I'm happy to do it, show you guys some stuff and just hang out and get this done and get her ready so she'll be nice and smooth and ready for the priming, and then we can just jump right into painting. So we're doing all of this ahead of time so we don't have to go back and forth and, you know, do all this stuff over and over again. I like to do it all as much as possible and then move into painting and priming. She does have very cute arms. She actually has no hands. It's just all frills and all, you know, ruffles and sleeves, and it's just a very cute frilly and dressed up kit. So lots of opportunity for fun painting with a smart breakdown. That way we don't have to, like, you know, we don't have to mask off all this stuff. We can just paint a lot of these parts separately. Only thing we really gotta mask is like this and a couple other spots. But anyway, that's later talk. I'm wrapping it up for now. Our next stream will be on Thursday, the 6th of January. We've still got a fair number of time. I got 2 weeks before my school starts, so plenty of time to stream and be around. So thank you very much for tuning in. Yeah, thank you, Kari, for showing up. I really appreciate it. Hope you guys have a good night, and I hope to talk to you soon. Bye-bye.